they had no meaning. It's like, dude, you didn't even have to bring those out. You say that, well, I feel sorry that I had to do this, and it's just like it gave the nutbags. Yeah, see, she's a criminal. She's a this, she's a that, and he came out. Why would I care about what Uma and her husband are doing, who's now on his way to jail because he's a jackass? You took and you said, well, she took important emails and passed them on, and she was going back and forth with her assistant. Wasn't true. There was nothing found on those emails.
Oh,
but it didn't help that Comey comes in 11 days and whammo, and just dropped the bomb on their ass. And next thing you know, it's like, oh. And then, and I felt bad for
there were a lot of bullshit smears against Hillary. There was a lot of sexism. I would never say that wasn't the case. But that's not what I'm referring to.
I don't understand. No,
that's
I'm just saying added. I'm just saying added to what you're saying.
I totally understand. Yeah, that put a thumb on the scale, too.
Right, yeah,
I would
that
not
just
say,
went on. Because everyone
that's
said,
absolutely true.
We understand what she did as far as her campaign and everything, but that didn't help to go ahead and bring these guys in and say, you got the FBI, look, she's a criminal. That whole criminal thing kept coming out, and guys were like, I talked to guys at my cigar lounge, and they're Trump guys, and the only thing, I don't like it when I have to talk to people who only thing come out of their mouth, he's a racist. You got to give him more than that, dude. It's not, you just can't holler out he's a racist. Hit him with some policies, hit him with the things that he don't know, but just to holler out he's a racist. Sorry, because yes, they want to. A lot of guys want this so-called white dude back in. We want the brother gone. We got a white guy now. Yeah, and some people probably voted that way. Like, just because he's white, he's going to save your ass. Black people thought because Obama showed up, hey, guess what? Oh, he's going to give us some cell phones. And no, that's not. No, your ass still got to go to work. Damn it, it doesn't work that way. But you just just piggyback on what you're saying. I agree that she did some things in her campaign that screwed her, and then here comes Comey, just put the icing on the cake, and just said, okay, boop, and these guys voted. They voted, and they took everything down. And my sister even stated to me, she said, Weiner is not going to do any time, and I said, yeah, he is. He's going to do some time. The fact that he was caught with a 15-year-old talking, you're done. I don't understand that.
What was the question? Just
yeah. Oh, it's a good battle.
Just playing with you. Hey,
good point that you make. Yeah.
I'll go back to your original question that you were saying, David, was about we have two people that are running against each other, Trump and Clinton, and one of them's going to win. There's no one else going to win. One of them. So you got to sometimes take one for the team and vote for the person who is at least rational. How's that? At least normal person or something, right. I totally get I get the swing voters. I get that stuff. I get the Jill Stein stuff. I get the Gary Johnson stuff. I get all that. People want to feel like my vote, I want to vote for the person that I feel proud of voting for. I totally get that. But you know what? Sometimes we don't get to do that. I'm very left. I'm so left, I'm like next door. I'm not even in this room right now, David. But you know what? And I've had to step to the right every time we've had any election. But this one, really seemed like a big one. Like, we got to save that. Like, on my Facebook thing, I did the same thing. I voted for Bernie in the primary, voted for Hillary in the big show, which I keep saying. I have a joke about it too and stuff. And that's what we had to do. I can see if you're a third party voter and you thought, hey, we have no problem with our candidate, with Hillary's going to win or Trump's going to win or whatever's going to happen. I'm going to vote my conscience and do what I got to do. I totally get that too. I totally get it. I think the only way that it has been kind of damaging is if you have a following. So if you have a following, like you're on the radio or you're on TV, whatever, and you're saying, I'm going to vote for Jill Stein or I'm going to vote for Gary Johnson or whatever it is and pull this out, the other direction or something. The people that you have as fans or whatever in Florida or in other states, they hear you. If they hear you say a bunch of shit about Hillary, then I know they might have a problem voting for Hillary at the end. I said a lot of shit about Hillary, not in a bad way. I'm a comedian, so I'm gonna say some stuff like I did say some stuff about Monsanto because Monsanto was giving her money. I was really excited about Bernie because of taking only money from workers like me, $200 from the workers, from real workers, and no corporations.
$27 at a time.
I know, right? I thought I would never ever see that. So it was. I cried when he lost New York, But I had to get my shit together because we're like, fuck, man, Trump got picked, so let's win.
That's
And
that's
then
my
we'll
point,
fix
Ron.
the shit,
and I am not punching down. I am merely stating the facts that, and we are proving it here ourselves, that rather than looking to the past and re-arguing established history.
Mm-hmm. Well, you brought up the election. You brought that up initially.
Yeah,
that's right, David.
Just throwing that out there.
Referee now.
Sorry, David.
But nobody stopped me.
No.
We're all complicit.
We're all going to hug after this.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. But the point is that when it came to the general election, as distasteful as it was, you had to look at the primaries and say,
Robert Reich said,
but you also
had to
have
look at the
to be
primaries
strategic.
and say, bygones, that is what happened. This is the crisis that is facing us now, and this is what we must deal with. And so let us do that with the show, and let us leave established history behind in terms of arguing over potential outcomes, because we know the outcome.
Those that don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it.
Yeah.
But continue.
So thank God the writer's strike was avoided, because I don't think I could handle another lost situation in my life. And hey, speaking of television, why don't we take this moment to turn to our 5-time Emmy nominated commentator. How's that for a segue? Will Durst, who joins us every week with a burst of Durst. Hey, how you doing, Will?
Hey guys, Will Durst here with a few choice words about Donald J. Trump's presidency, which is keeping staffers and streaming news alert editors busier than a flock of seagulls at low tide. Watch the network television anchors and you can see they're exhausted. That breaking news graphic broke. The new guy is making more missteps than the last place finisher in a drunken hopscotch tournament on cobblestones with a watch cap pulled over his eyes. Every day there's something. Right after firing his FBI director, the Washington Post reported the president shared classified intelligence with 2 Russian diplomats. But the White House said, relax, trying to convince the country that Mr. Trump was never in possession of any intelligence he could have shared. And increasingly, America is willing to believe it. The whole not in possession of any intelligence part. In defense of his disclosure of the classified Israeli intel concerning ISIS, Trump claims he can say anything to anybody because as president, he has special powers. Apparently, he was bitten by a radioactive spider. But the biggest and best and beautifulest radioactive spider ever. Now, Deputy Attorney General Rosenstein appointed a special prosecutor to get to the bottom of possible Russian collusion and obstruction of justice, the fastest any president in history has ever been targeted with a special prosecutor. He must be so proud. He's gone from 0 to Nixon in less than 4 months. Next up, the president is scheduled to embark on a 9-day, 5-city foreign tour visiting Saudi Arabia, Israel, Belgium, and the Vatican, ending up at the G7 conference in Italy. For a guy who hates to travel and goes off script like church bells in Ireland, what could go wrong? The G7 used to be known as the G8 until Russia was kicked out for annexing Crimea. But now that they've annexed us, looks like they're back in the loop. For Let's Be Treasonable, I'm Will Durst.
Thank you very much, Will.
Yes.
Always a pleasure. So, since Will brought it up, let's talk about Trump's big trip. On the one side, I think it's great that the administration finally found a way to keep him from going to Mar-a-Lago for a weekend. 2 weekends if you count the whole span of the trip. But Trump, I was thinking about this. For those who haven't been paying attention, Trump left yesterday. He's currently in Saudi Arabia. He is then going to Israel, because had he gone to Israel first, he wouldn't be able to get into Saudi Arabia with an Israel stamp on his passport. attempt at humor. So he's in Saudi Arabia. He's going to Israel, where he's going to meet with the government, and he's going to meet with the Palestinian authorities. Then he's going to the Vatican. Then he's going to Brussels for a NATO summit, and then to Sicily for the trade forum. I think it's great that they found a way to get him out of the White House for 9 days. I'm sure part of the way they convinced Trump to do this trip was by looking at any detective show where when someone is under investigation, the cops tell them, and don't leave town. So, well, if you leave town, that is a sure sign that you're not under investigation because the cops are letting you go. I'm sure that came somewhere into play. But Trump is expected, he may be doing it now with the time difference, I don't know, but in Saudi Arabia, he is going to give a speech on Islam.
What?
Yeah. Now, as comedians, we have all played hostile rooms before. I'm sure. Let's reiterate the fact that we are comedians here. What worst story of the worst room that you played to? Just thinking Trump going to Saudi Arabia to talk about Islam.
I did a black room, urban room, whatever you want to talk, however you want to call it.
What you talking about, Michelle?
Whatever, yeah. And no, it was cool. I mean, everybody was super cool and stuff. But everyone, can I say this, David? All the comics, right? It was women. It was mostly women. It was a women's thing. And most of the comics, most of the audience was black. Most of the comics were black and women, right? And they were talking about stuff like fucking in the ass and all of this stuff. And then I come up and talk about, hey, guys, there might be some gay people in the Bible. And, ooh, hush, nothing but silence. And, so I belong in the Bible. You know what I mean? I belong places. I'm good people.
Sounds like something. It sounds like a cruise gig I had.
Yeah.
Well, they did. They told me don't say. They said, "Ty, you can say, eating this and licking that and blah, blah, but don't you dare say Jesus Christ." Mm-hmm. And they meant that because of the evangelicals that were on the ship. You could not say, but you could say everything else. So yeah, that seems like black folks. They would do that. Yeah.
Yeah, evoking the Bible is hard. I've always found that whenever you evoke fictional literature in general, you're taking a risk because you don't know who's gonna catch the reference or whatever. So, I've always found this to be difficult. But the toughest room I've ever, I had to go through a bunch in my head because I've had a few I was worried about that then ended good. One, I did a show in Salt Lake City, right? And I kind of thought that anybody that was showing up to this thing was probably not Church of Latter-day Saints. Because I had played in Utah before, and it was the show that I did in Utah before, all the people that came out were people not part of that community, and this was their escape. So, and I was told that ahead of time, which I get. So I thought, okay, well, this is their escape. I should make them feel, I should remind them that this is their escape, So my opening line was I get up there, and I'm just do the Mormons really like the Scientologists because now they're not the lamest man on campus? Is that a thing? And no laughs at all. And somebody in the front row goes, we're all Mormon here. And I go, okay, well, there's going to be 45 more minutes of this shit. And but then they laughed. They laughed at that, and then they were, they forgave me for it, in the Christian spirit, I suppose. And then the rest of the show was fine. But the worst show I ever had, Arkansas, right outside of Little Rock. It was a rodeo club with complete with the mechanical bull in the back, and nobody gave a fuck about the show. Nobody was there for the show. They didn't even turn off the arcade games. I had to do 30 minutes cold, and I get up there. This guy is heckling, and then it gets to the point where he's just getting mean. So I say something else to him, and I embarrass him. Then he goes to the back and keeps heckling me. And I was like, what kind of a fucking coward are you that, a 5'4" guy, you have to go to the back to heckle him? You want to make it so that I can't even see you. You're pathetic. And he saw that as a call to arms. So he was basically, I had to finish my set while I knew full well he was waiting to fight me. As soon as I got off stage. Back in the room
is where they keep the pool cues.
Right,
That's why.
So I get up. Unfortunately, there were enough people that were like, you touch him, we're kicking your ass. So nothing happened. But it didn't make doing the jokes all that easy. Like,
Yeah.
or even doing the crowd work. Like, I was like, so